Welcome back. Sorry about that. Hello. Pallets, pallets, pallets. Generally, they're not that hard to get. And with the price of wood being so bad, pallets are kind of getting more and more popular for projects. And they're not that hard to find for free. Sometimes they're made out of some really decent boards. There's also a huge downside. First of all, a lot of these are treated for insects with a chemical, methyl bromide, extremely toxic to humans and pets and everything else. So you probably wouldn't want to use that for your project. Be sanding, cutting, hanging that thing up in your living room. Now I'm looking here and I don't see them. Is a stamp. There'll be like a stamp of the treatment process, who owns it, what kind of chemicals. I'm really not seeing it. Usually they're frigging all stamped. And today I'm not seeing any stamps. It's kind of weird. Maybe just because it's so dark in here. All right, here we do have something of a stamp. HT signifies heat treated. Fortunately, I don't think you see too many MB pallets, methyl bromide. And as I'm looking around, I don't see any, and that's probably a good thing. Yeah, all pallets are supposed to be stamped. And of course they're not. Most of them are not. It's kind of weird. So that's one thing to keep in mind. You don't want to be sanding and cutting and hanging up toxic things. The other thing is pallets get busted up constantly. They're just forever getting boards busted, and they're generally not in very good condition. Generally speaking, every board is going to be cracked, is going to have a whole crap load of nails in it, broken all together. And as these boards get replaced, they'll use whatever shit lumber is laying around to fix them. And they will also pound about 60,000 nails into them with a, air gun, and they'll just load them. So as you're kind of digging or working to reclaim or salvage pallet wood, it's going to be a constant issue. You're going to be throwing out more boards than you get to keep because they are beat to ever-loving crap. A million nail holes. Even your good pallets are going to have a bunch of nail holes, cracks and splits and all kinds of stuff. There's a few different ways to get these boards off. You can actually whack this with a hammer from the backside, and it'll work its way off of these supports, and you could pry and beat. And then you got to pound out the nails, and in some cases fill the nail holes, depending on what you're doing. You could take a jigsaw, which is really easy, and just bzzz, not a circular saw, just a little jigsaw, the one that just goes up and down. That's an easy option. That'll go quick. If you do decide to go with a saw method of cutting these boards, sawzall, circular saw, get a blade that's meant for cutting metal because you're going to hit nails. There's no way around it. Every one of these boards is loaded with nails, and you will eventually hit one. So I have been using a metal cutting blade, not a wood blade. So if I do catch some nails, it's not going to just instantly wreck the blade. What else? I'm out of breath. I had to run up and down like 7 flights of stairs. Most of the time, It's a pretty standard size board, but not always. And these are looking a little bit bigger than usual, but there are a couple different size boards. This is about the normal size. I don't know what that is just offhand, maybe a 1/4 inch or whatever. Normal thickness. Some are a little bit bigger. And we're not talking about the supports, just the actual boards. Sometimes you get really thick, nice ones. Real big ones sometimes. But again, they're always pretty much destroyed, especially if they're the ones that you're getting for free out back or hanging out at some business or whatever. By the time they're out back at some place, they're like these ones. They're just completely destroyed. But there is wood. I mean, you can salvage a lot of wood from a busted pallet. And I'm gonna put up some pictures of some of these pallet walls and some of the finishing treatments that people are doing to pallet wood. That is incredibly beautiful. So I've been wanting to do it. I've seen a couple woodworker videos and they're beautiful. So I want to do it. I want to try it at least. So my method, I just took a Sawzall because that's all I have. My jigsaw is at home. I do not have a jigsaw in the machine shop, but we do have a Sawzall. I'm basically just taking the Sawzall and cutting right down this line and leaving the nails and everything behind. The bummer about that is your board is really small. It's only the size of between these nails. So it's one bummer. I will try and pound out some and get a whole board out of it. Yeah, you can see that, you know, they're not all destroyed, but the nails and the splits and cracks just, it's going to be some work. It's going to be some work. Staples, a lot of times they use staples. Or they'll use those nails that are spiraled that do not like to come apart or come out. For the most part, the only thing these are good for is burning. I mean, there's very few good boards on these, but there's some. There's some. It's just a matter of if you got the ambition, the drive to want to take them all apart. Now, here's a good one. This is a really good looking pallet. A lot of boards, nice condition, a couple cracks, but all in all, not a bad pallet. Yeah, some of the projects people are doing in the finishing, the Japanese shung foi or whatever, I'll have to put it up. I can't think of what it's called right now. You get stage fright. And same thing with the methyl bromide. I couldn't remember what it was called. Yeah, pallets. You know, lumber is so frigging out of control expensive that you can get pretty creative with pallets and make some really nice stuff. People are using more and more pallets. And get on that before everybody takes them all. But look how bad. I mean, a lot of these are just, you can't even use any of the boards at all. Some you can. It's weird. The lumber, though, is just usually beat to crap. Anyway, I'll see you up in the shop where I was already starting to take some apart. But yeah, with a little work. It's not hard to find a mountain of pallets for free. But I'll head upstairs and we'll see you soon.